Welcome to the Divorce Survival Guide podcast, where we have open and honest conversations about co-parenting, separation, divorce, and the hardest question of all, should you stay or should you go? I'm Kate Anthony, your divorce survival guide, and I'm here to help you navigate some of the roughest waters you've ever swum in and answer some of your toughest questions. I've been to hell and back, and now it's my mission in life to help you get to the other side of this process with your sanity and your heart intact. Hey everyone, welcome back to the next installment of my 7-step divorce mindset reset series. That's a mouthful. So today we're going to be talking about radical acceptance. And this is a really big piece of the divorce process, right? Radical acceptance is a full and complete acceptance of a situation, a circumstance that you might be in, a challenge that you might be facing. It doesn't mean that we approve of it, that we agree with it, that we are in any way aligning ourselves with it. We're just acknowledging that it is so. This is reality. So this is really difficult sometimes when you're divorcing someone, especially a high conflict personality, somebody who is abusive or, anything that falls in under that umbrella, right? To accept that this person is who they are. To accept that this person is the person that they have been showing themselves to be all of this time. Really challenging, right? It's really challenging to go, oh, this is the person, this is who they are, right? And I radically accept that this is the person, this is who they are. They've been showing me this all this time. And I now have to, in order to accept that they are the person that they are, I actually have to accept that I chose that person. I have to accept that the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years of my life have been dedicated to trying to get somebody to love me who can never love me and will never and has never loved me in the way that I experience love. That's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. If you're not divorcing a high conflict personality, somebody who's abusive, it's just whatever the other issues might be, there is still a level of radical acceptance that this is where we are, that this is the here and now. We are right, like this is where we're at. We don't necessarily have to approve of the person or their behaviors or agree with any of the things that they've done when we radically accept them or the circumstances, right? We're just saying, I got it. This person isn't actually capable of giving me what I need. This person actually isn't capable of showing up as a co-parent. They're not capable of showing me love. They're not capable of experiencing love. Radical acceptance is also not remotely akin to forgiveness. If you've been following along at all, you know that I have some strong feelings about forgiveness. I don't believe anybody's entitled to your forgiveness. I don't think you have to forgive anybody, anything that they've done that is unforgivable. If you choose to, that is your choice. And that's a gift that you're giving the other person. The gift that you give yourself is around radical acceptance. It's sometimes easier to accept that the person is who they are than to forgive them. It's more appropriate. I think it's healthier. Because when you engage in forgiving somebody, a lot of people will say, that forgiveness is for yourself, it's not for the other person. I strongly disagree. I think radical acceptance is for yourself. Giving up a resentment, right? Walking around, as they say, carrying a resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. When we walk around with a resentment, we are poisoning ourselves. We're keeping the toxicity. We are actively resenting the person. So therefore, we're actually continuing to engage in a relationship with them inside of ourselves. They are taking up space in our head, rent-free. They are occupying a lot of space in our heads. We're having all sorts of conversations with them. We are winning them all, and we're saying all the right things at all the right moments, and we're fighting with them, and we're finally winning, right? In all of these conversations we're having in our heads. That's resentment, right? That just takes so much time and energy out of our souls. And so releasing resentment, I believe, can start with radical acceptance. Because when you are fighting reality, you're creating chaos and turmoil within yourself. You're creating those conversations, that narrative, right? So it's about reducing your own inner conflict and turmoil and pain. And then we can say, okay, I get it, right? This is the circumstance. This is who this person is. Now what am I going to do about it? And then we can actually think clearly. Then we can use our executive function, because all of that, chaos that you're creating in your head by continuing to engage with the person in your head is keeping you in this response to them. And it's keeping you activated in a way that disallows rational thinking, planning, all of those executive function parts of the brain that you really need in order to move forward with this. I want to offer you, Tina Swithin has a radical acceptance oath that I think is really great. And she says, the oath is, I agree to practice radical acceptance when it comes to people and situations that are beyond my control. Practicing radical acceptance does not mean that I agree with the situation or the person. It means that I will no longer fight reality, and instead I will channel my energy into problem solving with a clear mind. So in the downloads associated with this series, you will find a sheet on radical acceptance, and it has this oath in it. And I want you to download it and I want you to repeat it, because I think it's really, really important. This piece of radical acceptance, it's for those of you who are doing any 12-step work, right? This is first step stuff. This is, I'm powerless. I'm powerless over other people, places, things. I am powerless over their responses, their reactions. I'm powerless over how they treat me. Radical acceptance is powerlessness. For those of you not really familiar with the 12 steps, when we practice powerlessness, we are not saying, I have no power. We're not saying that we don't have strength. What we're saying is that we're actually choosing to use our strength in the areas that it actually has an impact and a positive impact. Trying to control another, trying to control someone, how they treat you, their relationship to you, all of those things. The other person doesn't give a shit. They're basically watching you exert energy in a futile effort to try to get them to change, and they have no intention of changing. So you're giving all of your power away. So rather than continue to give your power away, go, okay, I have no power here. I actually have no power here. That doesn't mean that you don't have power in other places, because you absolutely do. In fact, you have the power to choose radical acceptance. You don't have the power to make him stop cheating on you. You don't have the power to force him to be a better parent. You don't have the power to make him stop seeing you as a possession that he can use to his benefit whenever he wants to. You do in removing yourself from the situation, right? But, right, that is where you do have power. You have power to say, enough, I'm out. But you don't have a power to change who this person is. They have clearly shown you who they are. So radically accepting is the most powerful thing that you can do, to be honest. The radical, right? Radical is revolutionary. It's also fundamental. It has multiple meanings. Thorough, complete, total, and also fundamental, intrinsic. And also it is revolutionary, and it is progressive, and, and all of those things, right? I love it. It's a great word because it has so many meanings, and all of them apply here. Having radical acceptance for another person, it is fundamental. It is intrinsic. It is innate. It is part of you. It is also, radical acceptance means that it is entire and absolute and thorough. Complete acceptance. Complete. And it's also a fucking radical act. And I talked in the beginning of this series about dropping your end of the rope. Radical acceptance is how we do that. Drop the fucking rope. Okay, got it. You have been showing me who you are for 20 years. I finally accept that this is who you are. Okay, cool. Got it. Now what do we do? Now what action do I take with that acceptance, with that understanding, with that clarity? It's like you're opening a window and going, oh, I've been seeing this all wrong. Now I see it clearly. Oh, in that case, let me choose differently. In that case, if this is the reality, how am I going to be with that? What choices do I make with that? How do I now shift my way of being in this relationship accordingly? And that is fucking radical. One of the things that I talk about all the time, I say it all the time in Phoenix Rising to the amazing women who are moving through their divorces, first of all, in community, and they're getting so much out of it. And I swear to God, they have the strength of the entire collective with them. Like the level of growth that they're able to achieve is exponential to the power of the number of women in the group. I'm not kidding, because they learn that much from each other. It's unbelievable. And one of the things I always say to them is, these people that you're divorcing have no fucking idea who you are now. They have been fucking with you and controlling you and dominating you and abusing you for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And they literally have no idea who this person is that is no longer fuckable with. That's a huge advantage, by the way, because when somebody underestimates you to that degree, you better watch out. They really have no idea who you are. They think that they can say, it's all my money, it's my house, whatever it is, right? And it's like, they have no idea that you're intelligent beings that are resourceful as fuck, and that are in a group and a collective or listening to podcasts or whatever it is, learning and growing and changing, and are suddenly now able to call the bluff of the person who thinks that they've been able to control you all this time and has legitimately been able to control you all this time. They don't know that they've actually lost that power, that you have taken that power back. And the only way you take that power back is by radically accepting who they are now, who they have always been. And that's when you and they find out who the fuck you are now. That is my rant on radical acceptance. So tune in next time for my conversation with you, my monologue, my rant on having a strategy mindset. Super important stuff. All right, guys. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Divorce Survival Guide podcast. If you like what you hear, head on over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in and leave me a review. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at the Divorce Survival Guide. I'll see you next time, and until then, remember, you, my love, deserve to be happy.